Bueno, saludos a los que nos sintonizan por el Diario de Nueva York. Yo soy María Elisa Acevedo Irizarry, soy la periodista encargada de la cobertura diaria sobre los temas de Puerto Rico y en el día de hoy me encuentro con Michael Blake, quien es el demócrata que va a estar retando al congresista del distrito 15, Ritchie Torres, por ese escaño. Lo anunció recientemente y lo tenemos aquí para que nos diga por qué tomó esa decisión. La entrevista va a ser en inglés. Let's talk about your campaign announcement, the video. There have been critics about the campaign message because in one way or another, you have been part of the IPAC before. So my question would be, don't you think that those actions takes away credibility from your campaign?
Absolutely not. It shows a journey. All of us go on a journey in life to understand differences.
Uh-huh.
I am a reverend. I have been to Israel twice. I have baptized people in the Jordan River. I have prayed with people there. So being there does not make someone bad. No, absolutely not.
Okay.
But what we are saying right now is you can acknowledge what happened to the Jewish people and Israeli people was wrong. No question about that.
Mm-hmm.
But you also should be able to acknowledge that a genocide has happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I said it's time to walk away, any of us as leaders have to be able to walk away from organizations and people who are not with us.
Okay.
Ritchie Torres is making it very clear. He will not. He will not do that. He has made it very clear that his priorities have been talking about another country and another community 236% more than he talks about poverty.
Okay. The Jewish Community Relation Council released a statement saying that the message that you are delivering is not inclusive, that is divisive. Rabbis in the Bronx think that the campaign message is a proof of anti-Semitism. What do you have to say to them?
The very specific comment, being anti-AIPAC, being anti-Bibi Netanyahu, does not make you anti-Israel, and it does not make you anti-Semitic. And so we want to be very clear that where AIPAC stands right now, an organization that is clearly pushing an agenda to help Donald Trump, that is not helping the people of the Bronx. And when we talk through how do you stand for all communities, I would never tell someone if you criticize Donald Trump or you criticize Senate Democrats that you are anti-American. So there is no reason why if I criticize Bibi Netanyahu that it makes someone anti-Israel.
Okay. I also want you to react to the written statement that the spokesperson of Torres shared with some media outlets. I'm going to read it. Blake is not interested in the Bronx. He's only interested in using it to run for office for the 5th time. And the result will be the same as before, another loss. What do you have to say? Because we haven't heard like Ritchie Torres reacting specifically to your challenge, but that's what the spokesperson said. I want your reaction.
Well, the spokesperson is wrong. So I was elected to the assembly 3 times. I was elected the vice chair of the Democratic Party nationally for a 4-year term. And so it shows once again that Ritchie's team can't even get the facts right. When Ritchie was asked about me in an interview at NBC, he said, who? Even though he was just with me at a candlelight vigil 2 weeks before. So for Ritchie and his team, if they want to ask who is Michael Blake, I am a son of Jamaican immigrants, born and raised in the Bronx. I am someone who served in the assembly for 6 years. I worked for President Obama for close to 7 years, including in the White House. I led the effort for the My Brother's Keeper program to help Black and Latino communities. I led the effort around minority women businesses to get more access to funding. I've come down to Puerto Rico after the earthquake to help on the ground. I've regularly gone to SOMO, something that Ritchie has never done, to stand up for the people of Puerto Rico as well. And so when we talk about what makes this different, we are in a moment in time where people will ask, what are you doing to help me around cost of living and affordability and keep me safe? I am better on that than Ritchie Torres is, and we will make that very clear when we are elected to Congress.
Let's move to Puerto Rico. The Bronx has the largest Puerto Rican population in New York. What do you think are the main issues that the Puerto Ricans in the county face, and in New York in general? And how are you planning to fix those issues if you get elected?
Cost of living. Cost of living is the most top issue for everyone right now. And very specifically, let's end credit scores used for housing applications so that you have a better chance of actually getting a home. Let's increase the income limits also on housing applications, because too often you have to be poor enough or very rich, but what happens to people in the middle? When we talk about for the community specifically, I have said I stand with self-determination. Let's listen to the people and let's actually have a serious and legitimate vote that would happen for that determination. Ritchie Torres is still standing on the side of statehood and standing in support and collaboration with leaders who were leaders for Latinos for Trump. So when we talk through the dynamic of what's happening as relates to for the Puerto Rican diaspora in the community, making sure that you have someone that's serious around cost of living, fighting for you to have better affordable housing, ensuring that we're actually standing up for the people of Puerto Rico in the Bronx and on the island, making sure that we're very serious around how we give protections. As Ritchie Torres voted in support of the Lake and Riley Act, which again would lead to people easily being deported. As we've now watched, US citizens are being grabbed up off the street by ICE. They're not asking you for information, they're just taking you away. Why would you want to have someone in Ritchie Torres that it is easier for you to be arrested and taken away than someone actually fighting for you? And so when we talk through how to make things better for the people of Puerto Rico and the diaspora, I showed that track record. We've continued to stand in support, including my work in supporting Casa Boricua, an incredible senior center in the district, including the work that I've done again in Puerto Rico after the earthquake, including what I've done around diversity in medicine to provide more funding to Black and Latino doctors and medical students to go to school. And lastly, my brother's keeper. We are still the only state in the country for a program for Black and Latino students to go to school and graduate from school. That was my initiative in the assembly. It is still being funded every year. There is no other place where that is happening, and that is helping Puerto Rican and Latino students to realize their dreams. That is why I'm better for the Latino community and Puerto Rican community than Ritchie Torres.
Blake, you mentioned the status issue in Congress, right? And Ritchie Torres has support many bills that attend that issue. Of the status, specifically the ones for a plebiscite in the island. That's not important. That's not an important action in terms of Torres' performance in Congress. Sorry.
Of course, there are important actions, but we have to ask ourselves, what was the language within these bills that someone voted on? Okay. There's a reason why we're not seeing so many of these bills actually move forward in a real way. And so when we think about this, whether it be on, again, self-determination and statehood, right? That bill has not come back up recently because people were very disgusted and rejected the notion of bad language being presented to them. We're not saying that someone has not done anything. I would never say that. But I am saying that we can be better. And I am saying that we deserve more. And I am saying that when you have someone in Ritchie Torres who is taking funds from crypto entities that are leading to the increase of housing costs up to 700% in Puerto Rico, which leads to displacement. Those are the types of things that are hurting Puerto Ricans and hurting Latinos. And so when we're talking through what I want to do, I want to make sure you have real affordable housing. I'm giving you a plan on how to do that by ending credit scores and increasing income limits. I want to make sure that there's better protections to keep you safe so that you don't have a scenario where someone can grab you even as a citizen and remove you. And we want to give you a new vision of how that you are listened to and listen to the people on the ground and have self-determination as opposed to Ritchie, who was listening to MAGA Republicans.
Blake, that language, the language of that project was approved by the DNC in the last convention. So you don't agree with that effort? Because it's included in the platform of the Democratic Party.
No, I didn't say I didn't agree with that. Again, to your question, I said there are things that people have done, right? However, when we take a step further, there are so many things that Ritchie is not doing, right? You think about organizations like Power for Puerto Rico that opposed it, right? We want to unite the community around that. And so taking some positions is not leadership alone. It's about the collective vision of what are you doing to actually help the people.
But I want to be clear. Okay, you were part of the DNC, right? And the party
until 2021. I was a vice chair for 4 years.
Okay. But you know how are the processes in the DNC, right? Yeah. So the party approved a platform that support the Puerto Rico Status Act for the plebiscite, right? A bill that will authorize a federally sponsored plebiscite between three options: statehood, association, free association, and independence. My question is, do you support that effort to include the Puerto Rico Status Act in the platform? That language in
yes. In the platform itself, yes, there's support around that, right? But there was not enough detail. So I do think that's why I want to separate the two, right?
Okay.
Should there be the opportunity for us as Democrats to say very consistently that we need to hear from the people? Absolutely. However, the problem are the details. The problem is, what is the actual language? The problem is, are we actually taking a stance in a vote that is harmful to the community? And so, perfect example to your question, just this past week, right? You're going to have a vote, you've had a vote rather, to reopen government, where the decision was made on meals or Medicare, right? So someone at the core of it, like, yes, we've reopened the government, but the details were not strong. There were no details over U.S. citizenship under independence. There was no language, especially around taxes and under statehood. No clear message around the transition, no mention around transitions. And so I'm saying it to say that on the framework, should we make sure that we are taking the steps to hear from the people? Absolutely. But we have to make sure that we understand the specifics so that you don't end up taking a vote that is actually more harm than good.
So what the party should be doing as an institution, right? As an institution, should be doing to address the status issue in Puerto Rico.
Please finish.
No, I'm finished. Go ahead.
We need to be laying out how there are going to be self-determination votes with specific details on what comes from that. Too often, people are being asked to take votes on referendums and proposals without concrete details. So when we think about how Bad Bunny and others have talked through, do not lose your culture, do not lose the community in the space of what is happening with some of these decisions. We need to understand very clearly, for self-determination and that vote that occurs, what are the details around U.S. citizenship under independence? What is the language? What are the taxes under statehood? What is the mention around transition? Let's talk through the conversation of how too often a vote by itself without details leads people to be confused and not have all the information. And so to your question, we as Democrats need to be coming to the people and saying very clearly, it is for you, the people of Puerto Rico, to make the decision, but let's make sure that we're making a decision with all of the facts.
Okay, but if a majority of Democrats agree on a plebiscite, right? Under which of those status options do you think Puerto Rico will develop in a better way? Statehood, free association, independence, which one?
Well, that's for the people to decide. That's not for me to tell the people. And I think at the end of the day, that is the difference here, right? You have someone in Ritchie Torres that has made a clear decision on where he currently stands. Now, can there be the journey that someone is on? You can make different determinations along the way as you learn more information. But as of right now, Ritchie Torres is saying he supports statehood and supports a statehood party that is MAGA Republican, where the leadership were Latinos for Trump. What I am saying is, let's make sure that the people have all the information. And then for whatever decision is made that is binding to Congress with those details, then you can actually take a serious look and then move from there.
How will you describe your relation with Congress leaders of Puerto Rican origin besides Ritchie Torres, like AOC, Nelly Poe, Nidia Velázquez, Darren Soto? With which of them do you speak more frequently about what issues?
Well, I won't say who I speak with most frequently on particular issues. But excellent question. But to the question of do we engage, do we speak, and do we collaborate? Absolutely, right? You look at, for example, with the recent election, when you have myself and AOC and Nydia who endorsed Zohran Mamdani because of what he's doing for Puerto Ricans, what he's doing for Latinos, when Ritchie Torres did not. When we talked through going to Asomos, where I was there, as was Nydia, as were so many other leaders, Ritchie Torres did not go. It is not important to him to go. When we talk through the challenges around Laken Riley, an act again that would lead to an increase in deportations and lack of due process, I have said it is wrong, as has Nydia, as has AOC. Ritchie does not stand on that side. So when we talk through the issues, right, the opposition of what's going on around cost of living, and how they are not actually addressing cost of living, and Ritchie Torres is not addressing it rather. However, when I talk through the opportunities of Medicare for all, something clearly that has been elevated by AOC regularly, I'm using those as examples that the policies for the people, I am aligned with a Zohran Mamdani, with an AOC, with a Nydia Velázquez in helping the people, when Ritchie Torres is only helping himself.